Today we will try to set a direction for the professional life of those people who are very shy. Now, let's get to know this character better. The chronically shy person in the workplace. This professional has talent, education, and all the technical skills necessary to stand out. But there is a small problem. They freeze completely when they need to expose themselves. Meetings become psychological battlefields where the simple idea of speaking in front of everyone causes a feeling in the stomach comparable to jumping out of a plane, only without the cool adrenaline rush. The chronically shy person lives a curious routine. When that important meeting comes up, they even prepare brilliant arguments at home, rehearse in the mirror, and think this time I will speak. But when the time comes, their voice disappears, their heart races, and they stand there, frozen, watching the extroverted colleague present a similar idea and take all the credit. And what about networking? For the shy person, professional events are true torture sessions disguised as growth opportunities. While some circulate around the room distributing cards and making connections, they stay glued to the corner, holding the coffee cup as if it were a protective shield. The situation gets worse when promotions come around. Even though they are technically competent, the shy person is often interpreted as uninterested, unmotivated, or even antisocial. Colleagues and bosses look at them and think, so-and-so never says anything. Do they even care about the work? The reality is quite different. Inside, there is a whirlwind of ideas, insecurities, and brutal self-demand. The problem is not lack of competence or will to grow. It's that shyness works as an invisible barrier between real talent and the perception others have of them. This cruel cycle ends up pushing many shy professionals into positions of less exposure, even when they could shine in leadership or strategy roles. The central question is how to break this pattern and transform shyness into something that is not an insurmountable obstacle in one's career. To understand the challenge of shy people, it is necessary to first understand how the corporate world has changed. In the past, many careers worked in kind environments, predictable environments with clear rules. Think of the charismatic salesperson who mastered the art of persuading customers in physical stores. They had a script, knew the products, and repeated that same technique every day. In this scenario, shyness could even be an obstacle, but technical talent and experience compensated for it. It was possible to grow by just being good at what you do without needing to expose yourself so much. But the game has changed. Today, most careers happen in wicked environments, complex, unpredictable, and where networking has become practically a mandatory requirement. In this new world, being technically competent is not enough. You need to be seen, create connections, and build a reputation. And this is where two curious profiles emerge in the corporate environment. First, we have the I-shaped extrovert. This professional talks about everything, is in all meetings, comments on all projects, and seems to know everyone. But when you dig deeper, you realize that their connections are superficial. They know many people, but few really trust them for important things. It's that person who is everyone's friend, but whom no one calls to solve a critical problem. On the other side, there is the dash-shaped shy person. This professional avoids exposure, like a vampire flees from the sun. They participate in projects, but always behind the scenes. In meetings, they stay in professional listener mode. The problem is that, by avoiding any kind of exposure, they end up being superficial in everything, both in connections and in the visibility of their own work. No one really knows what they do or how good they are. Imagine an extremely competent but very quiet data analyst. When a crisis arises in the company, say a sharp drop in sales, they have the necessary insights to identify the problem. But since they don't expose themselves, don't actively participate in discussions, and don't build strategic connections, no one thinks to call them for help. Shyness, in this case, has become a blind spot, a wasted talent because no one knows it exists. This is the trap of wicked environments for shy people. Being good is not enough. The right people need to know that you are good, and that's exactly where the challenge lies. Now we arrive at the solution. the concept of the T-shaped shy person. Imagine the letter T. The vertical line represents depth, that technical skill in which the person becomes a real expert. It can be data analysis, programming, technical writing, design, or any other skill that allows building deep and differentiated knowledge. This is the shy person's comfort zone, where they shine without needing a stage or audience. But here comes the key insight. The horizontal bar of the T. For the shy person, this bar does not need to be made of traditional networking, full of events and handshakes. Instead, it is built through subtle and strategic connections. Think of technical contributions in online forums, well-written articles shared internally in the company, impeccable documentation that everyone consults, or even written collaborations. These are ways to connect without needing to perform socially. A practical example: a shy data analyst can delve into visualization tools and at the same time create dashboards so clear that they become a reference in the company. They don't need to present in crowded auditoriums. The work speaks for itself. People begin to seek them out naturally because they know they solve that specific problem better than anyone. And this is where silent transfer comes in. This is the hidden superpower of shy people: the ability to apply deep insights from one area to another, generating rare value without spotlights. For example, a shy programmer may realize that the same principles used to optimize code can be applied to improve business processes. They create analogies, propose solutions in writing, and implement improvements that no one had thought of before. This type of contribution is incredibly valuable because it requires deep thinking, something that I-shaped extroverts, always busy talking, rarely manage to develop. The shy person, on the other hand, has time and mental space to connect dots that others don't see. They may not be the person who raises their hand in the meeting, but they are the one who sends that email afterwards with the complete, well-founded solution ready to implement. The beauty of silent transfer is that it does not require a personality change. The shy person continues to be shy, but learns to channel their introspective and analytical nature to generate real impact. It is working with shyness, not against it. Now comes the practical part: how the shy person can really evolve in their career without needing to become a completely different person. The first strategy is called serial exposure. The idea is simple: choose a single social skill per season and train it until reaching about 80% fluency. We are talking about periods of 6 to 18 months, focused on one thing only. For example, the shy person can start with something seemingly small, commenting once a week in meetings. It seems like little, but for those who freeze in groups, this is a real challenge. The beauty of this approach, that gradual exposure allows the brain to get used to the feared situation, reducing anxiety over time. It's not about eliminating nervousness, but about making it manageable. After this skill becomes natural, that is, when the shy person can comment in meetings without feeling that paralyzing dread, they graduate to the next challenge. It can be leading a small presentation, initiating informal conversations with colleagues, or even participating in more structured networking events. The secret lies in strategic quitting, abandoning the focus on the previous skill as soon as it becomes comfortable and moving on to the next one. This way, mental energy is not dispersed trying to improve everything at the same time. But here comes a crucial point. While training these social skills, the shy person needs a stable financial base that does not require constant exposure. This is where invisible jobs come in, behind-the-scenes roles that pay the bills and free up mental energy. Think of jobs like text editing, research, technical writing, data analysis, or graphic design. These are careers where the work speaks for itself without needing constant social performance. A classic example is Albert Einstein himself, who worked for years in the patent office analyzing other people's ideas. This invisible job gave him financial stability and, more importantly, time and mental space to develop his revolutionary theories in his spare time. He didn't need to be constantly selling himself or networking. He could just think. For the modern shy person, This combination is powerful. A behind-the-scenes job guarantees income and reduces the pressure of having to shine socially every day. Meanwhile, gradual serial exposure builds social skills in a sustainable way, without burning emotional energy. It is working intelligently, respecting one's own limits. One of the greatest anxieties of the shy person is the pressure to respond on the spot, live. That moment when someone asks something in a meeting and everyone is staring, waiting for an immediate response. It is practically a corporate nightmare. But there is a clever solution: creating an external brain for social interactions. The idea is to use note-taking apps as strategic allies. Before sending that important email, the shy person can draft, review, perfect, and only then press the send button. Before commenting in a meeting, they can write down the main points and organize them mentally. Tools like Notion, Evernote, or even a simple phone notepad become extensions of thought. This eliminates the pressure of instant response and allows the shy person to present their best ideas, not the rushed ideas that emerge under pressure. A practical example: creating posts on LinkedIn can be terrifying for a shy person, but using Notion as an ideas laboratory, they can draft the text over days, refine the message, review the tone, and only publish when they feel it is really good. There is no judging audience during the creative process, just them and their ideas. Superior quality content because it was thought through calmly. Now comes the next step: micro exposures. The idea is to start ridiculously small, so small that it even seems silly. For example, sharing one interesting link per week on professional networks. It doesn't need to be a giant original article, just something relevant that the shy person found valuable during their solitary research. This practice has a hidden power. First, it trains the visibility muscle without requiring great performances. Second, it connects the shy obsessions, those deep research projects the shy person does alone on subjects they love, to future contributions. Over time, people begin to associate them with certain topics. Oh, John always shares cool things about data analysis, or Mary always interesting articles about project management. All of this happens asynchronously without stage pressure. The shy person can research on Saturday night, draft on Sunday morning, and schedule the publication for Tuesday. No one needs to know that that spontaneous post was, in fact, carefully planned. The result is what matters: consistent contribution, growing visibility, and authentic connections, all without leaving the emotional comfort zone. We have reached the end of this journey, and the most important message needs to be clear. Being shy is not a weakness. In fact, it can be a disguised superpower, as long as it is used strategically. While extroverts are busy talking non-stop, shy people are doing something very rare in the modern world: thinking deeply. The map is laid out. First, serial exposure. Choose one social skill per season and train until reaching 80% fluency before moving on to the next. Starting with something small, like commenting once a week in meetings, may seem insignificant, but this is how social muscles are built: slowly, without rushing, respecting one's own pace. Second, the invisible base job. Behind-the-scenes roles like editing, research, writing, or data analysis guarantee financial stability and free up mental energy for what really matters. It is not cowardice to choose low-exposure jobs. It is smart strategy. Einstein patented other people's ideas while revolutionizing physics in his spare time. No one called a coward for that. Third, the note-taking system as an external brain. Using apps to draft emails, comments, and posts before publishing eliminates the pressure of instant response. Micro-exposures: sharing one link per week, contributing to online forums, publishing small reflections, build visibility without requiring great performances. It is strategic digital presence done at one's own pace. The great secret is understanding that the corporate world does not need more talkative extroverts. It needs deep thinkers who connect ideas, solve complex problems, and generate real value. And that, frankly, is the specialty of shy people. The difference now is having a clear map. Build technical depth, create subtle connections, and use external systems to amplify impact without losing the essence. So, for all the chronically shy people watching, you are not weak. You are discreet geniuses waiting for the right moment to shine. Not on stage, but behind the scenes where the magic really happens. And with the right strategies, professional growth stops being an impossible dream and becomes a clear and viable path. Now just get started.